You ever look at an image online and say, I wonder if the heads were swapped, how would it look? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to achieve just that. Let's get into it. So this would be our final image here, but this is not where we're going to start. So this is the image that we want to add the head onto because we like the pose. And this is the head that we want to add onto that body. We're going to go into Photoshop, go up to File, and hit New. And Custom is fine. It doesn't really matter. We just hit Create. And what I like to do right then and now is hit Command J or Shift Command N to create a new layer. And I like to get rid of the background layer. And now just click the background layer and just hit delete. That's just me for my quick workflow. Let's get our first image and drag it. And just put it in the little corner here. Double tap it again. And what this does is going to unrasterize it, which will allow us to manipulate the image even further. Hit OK. Now let's get our second image and drag it. Just move it here. Doesn't have to be centered or anything. And let's do the same thing. Double tap it again, unrasterize it, hit OK. And what we're going to do now is we can just do a little zooming in action right here, just to get a little closer to the image to see what we can do. We'll make sure I'm on the bottom layer, the first image that we dropped. We're going to go on that layer. What we're going to do is hit W or hit the magic wand tool right here and go to Select Subject. What Photoshop is going to do is find that there's an object here of interest and it's going to select and highlight the whole things for me. So what I'm going to do here, it's not a clean copy because as you can see, we got some of the ear parts there. So if you want to add those, what you can do is go to the magic wand, click and hold it. And what you want to do is a quick selection tool. And you want to lower your brush. Depending on your computer or mouse, you'd want to use the bracket, the open bracket, which is the one next to P on your keyboard. You want to hit that. It'll make the brush size smaller. It works for everything else in Photoshop as well. So what we want in this case, we want to make it a little smaller. So then we can add and trace over the rest of the ears. And if we make a mistake, we can hit Option on Mac, take away some of the stuff. But since we want to add more of the ears, we're going to keep it on plus. And there we go. It's perfect. We can analyze the rest of the image here. I see that we have a little situation going on right here at the bottom. So let's fix that. Make sure that we're on plus. I'm sorry, we're on minus. Oh, now that's gone. And let's look at the rest of the image, make sure that it's nice and even and selected. All right. And what we're going to do from there is right click it. And we're going to do layer via copy. And it's going to quite literally lift the image from the background. And we're going to go to our previous image. And you see that now it has no background, no blue skies. And it's now an image that we can manipulate further. Okay, let's remove the white layer in the background. So now we're dealing with the image with no background. Now let's get to the head that we want to transfer. We're going to go a little quicker here. We're going to hit the W key on the keyboard, but make sure that we're on the layer that we want to choose. So we're going to hit W on the keyboard. And once we do that, we're going to go up to the top left where it says subject, select subject. Now it did its thing. It kind of outlined the shoulders and everything, the hair, and we're going to right click and hit layer via copy. And we're going to delete the original image. So now we delete the image with the background, because now we see that one has the background as we hit the eye. So we delete that one. If we zoom out with the magnifying glass, you can right click, fit to screen. So what I like to do is go to the lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool, it's really, really powerful. So make sure that we're on the right layer and start at the chin. We're going to scroll not so we can do it slowly. I mean, but Photoshop, it's pretty good now. Back in the day, that magnetic lasso tool was just not the best, to the point where I don't even really use it anymore. But this is actually the first time I've been using it for some time now, and I gotta be honest, it's really good, really good. The bottom part, we don't have to like line it up because there's nothing there, but what we can do is line it up right here, and once we're done and we go back to the point that we started at, we can double click. And once we do that, we're just going to hit delete. Now her head is completely free. We do have some residue, so what we can do is zoom in a little bit. Either with your, if you have a trackpad on a laptop, you can like pinch to zoom. And we're going to go to the erase tool. I hardly ever go to the toolbar. So if you see me searching like this guy doesn't know where things are, I always use the keyboard. And me personally, I know that some people might disagree. There are a lot of people who disagree with this. Learn the keys. They make you a lot faster at editing. So E is for eraser. Yes. So I like to just use the keyboard, makes everything a lot faster. And we're going to do the close bracket, which is the key next to P, to make the brush size smaller. And we're going to just clean up around the ears here. Probably do that there. A little jagged on the face. We got a little residue here on the little part of her cheek. We can fix that. We've also fixed this. Scroll around, and I think we're good. All right. So now that these are free from their background, what you can do is make sure that we're on the head layer that we want to transfer, and we're going to hit, let's see, the move key, which will turn the mouse into this thing that we can move it. And let's first move her a little to the center. There we go. And then let's go back to the layer of the head that we want to use, and let's just prop it right here. Let's see how I look. We might have to make her head a little bit smaller. So what we're going to do is go to edit. We're going to go to free transform. Depending on the computer you're on, pay attention to those keys. It's telling us that it's Command T to transform it. And I believe on Windows, it's probably Alt or Control T. So we're going to hit free transform, and this little blue box will come around, and we can move it around as well. But see these little boxes on the end? We can make the image big or small. So what we're going to do is just make it a little bit smaller. I like that. This is a nice regular size compared to the actual image. This actually makes sense. So what we're going to do now is center it a little bit and just double tap or just hit enter. Now that image is up on top. We can hit the erase tool, hit the letter E, erase. Now let's do the close bracket, which is next to the P, the close bracket. Keep going. Or just make your brush size bigger by going to the erase tool, and you have size. You can do that, but it takes a lot longer in my opinion. And make sure that we're on the layer with the big head that we want to erase. since it's in the back, we'll be erasing the image in the back. So we can do that, but careful not to erase the body. Oh, and the fingers. Oh, no, we got it. We can zoom in a little bit more by hitting Z and clicking and clicking and clicking. And let's hit the E key to get back into the eraser. Make the brush size a little smaller now that we're closer to the image. And we're just going to erase, erase, erase. And this might get a little bit delicate. So here's a trick, because you don't want to erase her shirts, right? You can make the eraser a little bit smaller, but let's do this. Let's go to the lasso tool right here. And we're going to hold it down and we're going to hit Polygon Lasso. And what we're going to do is we can zoom in and let's select the top part of her shoulders right here to there, because we know that's the image that's on the bottom. It's not this little cute little face, it's the image in the back. So now this little ant marching thing lets us know everything that's selected in that little sweet potato shaped thing. We could just hit delete. Now that's gone. So then now we can right click it with our mouse and just hit deselect. If you want to be fancy, I'll show you how to do that with, let's hit undo. I'm going to hit the letter L for lasso. Wow, kind of makes sense, right? Lasso, L. So we're going to hit lasso and we're going to select our little cheek face. I'm going to try to make a sweet potato shape again. It's more like a potato than a sweet potato. Sweet potatoes are more like curvy. Potatoes are more like shapy. All right, so we're gonna make sure that that's selected. Make sure that we're on the background layer, the one that we want to remove. And we're going to hit delete. And we're going to, instead of right clicking and hit deselect, we're going to hit Command D or Alt D, depending on your computer. And now let's scroll to the other side of her face and we notice that we have some residue. And we're going to do the same, delete. Let's zoom out a little bit. So I'm not a perfectionist, but I kind of want it to look right. And what we can do is fix her hair. So now what we're going to do is go to the stamp tool. And you guessed it, on the keyboard, it's the letter S. So we're going to hit S. So what the stamp tool does is that you select the part of the image that you want to be duplicated onto another part of the image. It's better if I show you. So what we're going to do is use the stamp tool, hit S, and we're going to hit Option and pick where we want the stamp tool to start. So if we like zoom in here, we can kind of see this little crosshair is telling us, okay, this is the starting point. So I like this part of her hair. So then if I scroll upwards where the crosshair is, I don't know if you can see it there, it's going to emulate that part of her hair. So if I pick a new starting point, if I pick like down here, see, it's just going to be black. And to me, I think that's good enough. That looks pretty good. There's even some blue parts from, I guess, from that previous photo. To me, the rest of it feels a little bit cut off. So, especially down there. So what I can do is emulate some of the waviness from the other side. And if we want to, we can use the lasso tool and quite literally just select a big chunk of that side. And we're going to double click it and hit layer via copy. And what we can do is use the move tool up there at the top, the first one. And we can use the free transform tool that we used earlier. And let's go to free transform to turn it around. Because once you put the mouse around, you'll see like the mouse will do this thing where it's like, hey, you want to go this way or that way? and we can just turn it. And we'll see how that looks. So then now we can put it in there, and her hair looks a little bit more, makes sense a little bit more, in my opinion, versus how it was before. And it's just a duplicate copy. And you could see the before and after looks pretty good. I'll darken the bottom parts though with a brush. Make sure that we're in black. Hit OK. Just to close them out a little bit. And to me, that looks great. It looks really good. Let's zoom out a little bit more. And we probably should tan the arms a little bit. The arms don't match how her, the color of her skin. I suggest we just use the eyedropper tool, which is right here. Use the eyedropper tool or hit the letter I. So any color that I pick, it'll turn into that. So it'll copy that color. So we'll pick the darkest part, and I will hit the brush tool. And you can say you can brush over it, but we don't want to do that. Let's hit Command Z or go to Edit and Undo Brush Tool. Now we have our skin tone color. Let's make sure that the color mode is on overlay instead of normal. So let's go to overlay, and we can lower the opacity just a smidget. And we're going to go onto her arms layer. And we can actually make it really easy by going to the magic wand tool and clicking her arms, and it'll select her whole arm for us. And we can hit B for brush. Let's go to brushes right here. And our color is good. And we can just draw on her hands. But part of her thumb wasn't selected for some reason. So we can fix that up right there. And let's do the same thing on the other arms. And we can make sure that's all selected up. And I mean, for a cake topper, this is decent enough. Let's hit W, right click, deselect. Let's look at our image. I'm pretty happy with it. I like what I did with the hair. I like everything about it. It looks great. Okay, now let's crop the image a little bit. Just to crop it right here. And let's save as, I like to save it as a PSD file first. Cake Topper 2. Save it to wherever folder that you want. And I like to save it as a Photoshop file first, just in case I need to manipulate it again in the future. And let's hit save. So in order to save it for social media or using a Cricut to print it, I'll hit File, Save a Copy, Format, PNG, and we'll put it in the same folder and hit Save and hit OK. So that's another thing I didn't get a chance to explain. Anytime you see this little checkerboard background, that means that the background is transparent. Yep. Now that's our little cake topper image right there. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thank y'all so much for sticking through and watching it. If y'all have any more questions, anything I can help with Photoshop and helping y'all learn how to use it, let me know. Have a nice day.